This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and today as my special guest, I have a former WWE Tough Enough competitor, WWE development wrestler, turned politician, Big Dan Rodimer. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, Hannibal. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing excellent. I'm actually here in Texas as well. I'm in Irving today. Where are you?
I'm in Mansfield right now. Mansfield, Texas, about 30 minutes south of Fort Worth.
So how did you go from wrestling to politics?
Well, after the WWE, I got hurt real bad. I actually took a DDT from John Cena. And after that, went to law school, moved, fell in love, moved out to build a family with my wife. We have 6 children. And after the Parkland shooting, my daughter knew one of the little girls. I decided to write a school safety bill, and it didn't go through. And then from there, they asked me to be on a number of different committees and fell into politics.
Now, I've heard that the reason you left WWE was they were about to give you a big push with Edge and Randy Orton, and you just quit. But you're saying that the reality of it was you actually suffered an injury.
I got injured. Yeah, it was. I got a lot of heat when I was there. Being the new guy. They're giving me a big push, and it was. There's a lot of different stories that were out there, but the WWE it's like a big fraternity, and there's a lot of hazing, and I took it all in. I loved it. I remember once when I was on the European tour, I got stuck with I think at the time the euro was like 2.5 to 1, and I got stuck with like a $27,000 bar bill. And then I went to Raw was that night, and Vince McMahon pulled me into the office and said, "You're my pit bull. You can't let him pick on you like this. From now on, you just stay in. You get here early, you practice, but no more going out." So that night, sure enough, I think we were in Italy. Went to bed early, locked my door, and around 3:00 in the morning, there were like 6 top guys. I'm not going to name names. But they came in with a fire extinguisher, and they sprayed down the room. I picked up the fire extinguisher, sprayed it back, and needless to say, Vince McMahon was not happy about that.
No, I can imagine, because you had the look and the size and the athletic ability to be a real superstar. But I guess everyone protects their spots, and that's kind of some of the ways that they get some of the people out that they find, I guess, don't deserve it or whatever, even though you were clearly an athlete.
Hey, man, Hannibal, fact was, man, I was the worst wrestler in the WWE, but I was really good on the microphone. And Vince would tell me, go out there and do a 2-minute promo to 8-minute match. And I'd go out and do an 8-minute promo to 2-minute match. And that's actually how I kept my job.
Now, you knew Ryback a little bit. There's a fan watching on here live that wants to know what you think about Ryback's eating habits.
Well, hey, when I knew him, he was spot on. I remember when we were in Tough Enough, he had all his meals pre-packed. He'd come in, he'd eat, whereas I just ate everything. But he was pretty dedicated.
Now, for your time as an attorney, you said you went to law school. What area of law did you practice in?
Well, right after I moved back so I lived in Texas for a long time. I lived in 8 different states with the WWE, Louisville with OVW, lived in Georgia, for Deep South, lived in Tampa with Steve Kearns wrestling school. But I lived all over. And when I graduated law school, I moved out to Nevada where I fell in love with my wife and had 6 kids, and was actually preparing for the bar and ended up falling into another industry, and ended up becoming a small business owner, owning restaurants, and I've been very blessed.
6 kids. You must love your wife a lot.
We just bought a TV, Hannibal.
I see. Now you mentioned Deep South Wrestling. Were you there for that incident when Bill DeMott did that thing with the donuts with Zack Ryder and Luke Gallows was in the ring there?
Yeah. Actually, hey, Hannibal, not to get off subject, but
Yeah.
we actually have an event on the 17th here. And brother, if you live here, I want you to come out. It's on the 17th of April at 4 p.m. Here in Mansfield. We're doing a free WWE style event. I think they're doing like 8 matches. Kane, Mayor Glenn Jacobs, Kane is going to be coming out here. Al Snow is going to be out here. I think a few of the Spirit Squad guys are going to come out here. Doug Basham from the Basham Brothers will be out here. So there's a lot of guys coming out, and it's going to be a great event. It's free. They're expecting a few thousand people. So I would love for you to be my guest, bud, and come out if you have time on the 17th at 4 p.m.
Very possible. Now, is Kane a libertarian?
Yes, he's on the Republican ticket. He is he is a funny story about him. When I was in the WWE, he used to have his own blog, but and he would sit there in the locker room, and I had no idea how politically involved he is. I hope that he runs for a higher office. I think he'll do very, very well. Very, very well spoken, and people love him out there. So I'm going to be supporting him if he does decide to run for a higher office.
Yeah, and of course he's also getting in the WWE Hall of Fame this year, so that's great that you have him as part of that event. I've seen some pictures of you with Donald Trump. What was your interactions with Mr. Trump like over the years?
So I went to church with him. I talked to him on the phone. He goes, "Big Dan, I'm going to church tomorrow. Would you like to come with me?" And I said, "Absolutely, I'd love to come with you." And when he walked through, it was my wife and I, and he comes up and he says, "Big Dan, I got a rally next week." This was last October. "I got a rally next week. I want you to open for me." And I said, "Well, Mr. President, I got a question for you. Do you want me to do the boring political speech, or do you want me to do the WWE political speech?" He looked at me and goes, "Got to do the WWE one. You got to do the WWE."
That's funny. I did actually watch your commercial where I don't know if that's you riding the bull or not, because I didn't quite see your face during that point, but you talked a little bit about some of your policies that you want to put in place. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about your stance for all the viewers watching in Texas. And people want to know, was that you riding the bull?
You know what? You know what's so great about that video that went viral, and obviously millions and millions of people saw it. It got the message out there, and that's what the folks here in our district want. They want a messenger. They want a fighter. They want somebody who's going to go up to Washington, D.C. and have the courage of their convictions, stand tall against the establishment, and be that voice. And it's messaging like that. It got out this week. Heck, I was on CNN this week. I was on Inside Edition. These are far left, stations. And most Republicans don't go on because they don't have a backbone to do it. I take every interview possible because that's the way we get the message out there. It's that video is great because, and everybody asks me, "Dan, you seem to have a different accent there. Dan, was that a real cowboy hat? Did you get that from Amazon? Dan, did you really ride the bull?" Fact is yes, I rode a bull. I stayed on for 11 seconds. The only reason I stayed on for the whole time is because my hand got stuck in the rope and I couldn't get off, to be honest with you. And then they told me, they said, "Dan, we need you to do it 5 more times because we didn't get the video footage." I told them, I was like, absolutely not. So, it's kind of like the WWE. I don't want to break it to everybody, but some of it's real, some of it's fake. And more of it is actually real than fake. But, same thing with bull riding. We got out there and we had some stunt doubles, just like Chuck Norris has stunt doubles.
Well, it was a very entertaining commercial for sure, and you're definitely pro gun. I see too. Do you actually have a lot of weaponry at your house where you live?
I do, Hannibal. But hey, so this particular commercial that we launched obviously went viral. Was a great video. Now we have another one coming out in about 2 weeks on Second Amendment because the Biden administration is going to start implementing his legislation to put in more regulations, which we can't have. The folks here in Texas don't want them. The folks in my district don't want them. I don't want them. And so in 2 weeks, I'll definitely come back on your show to show you that one because this one might take me off of all the social media platforms. I hope they don't, but it's a good one. It's as extreme as you could possibly go with guns.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing that one. I like that you don't mind being controversial.
Hey man, you have to be. I mean, the thing is it's not even controversial. I mean, people say, all these candidates, they say, oh, well, I'm going to fight for guns. I'm going to fight for freedom of speech. I'm going to fight for these things. But they just don't get it out there. Or when they get there, what do? They become rhinos. So, if we have a fighter up there that gets up there and fights for the people, that's what our job is. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what I'm going to do when I get to DC.
What do you think about Texas being back fully open now and things returning to normal where a lot of states, there's still a lot of restrictions. In some countries, like where I'm from, Canada, they're still on lockdown, but we have some freedom here in Texas right now.
Hey, we are in free America. I love it. It's great. And that's why we moved my whole family here because I want to move to a constitutional friendly state. You go out. It's why my slogan is "Make America Texas Again." We want to. This state is incredible, and the other states need to be like that. Let's open up and let's get folks back to work. That's what we need to do.
There's a fan on here that wants to know what the Miz was like. He was part of your Tough Enough class.
Mike was a great guy. So Mike I was on Raw and he was on SmackDown. So when he, on the days off, he would stay at my apartment in Louisville. And when I moved in, I bought this nice big screen TV and I bought like the new PlayStation. It just came out like the week earlier. And Mike accidentally left the back sliding door open. Well, sure enough, somebody came in, robbed me, took everything. And I didn't even tell Mike about it. Sure enough, a week later, I had this huge, I think I had like a 42-inch TV, but he ended up getting like this huge 60-inch, flat screen TV, which back then was astronomically expensive. And, it just shows his character and the type of guy he is. But always a great guy, always a gentleman, always just a true good guy, and that's why he's still there.
And you're still friends with Daniel Puder, who of course was he actually won the Tough Enough that year, but they ended up signing you and the Miz as well as other people. What were your thoughts when that whole Kurt Angle thing happened with Puder? That's still one of the most talked about incidents in the history of Tough Enough.
Hey, he's got a backbone, and he still does. We're good buddies, and he actually brought it up. He goes, "Do you think we can get Kurt to come out and we can do a match at your WWE event on the 17th?" I said that would be awesome. I don't know if he'll come out though. I know that he was reaching out to him, but yeah, that put him on the map. I mean, he's a legit. I mean, he wrestles with me all the time. And I'm like, easy, bud. He tries to put me in the chokehold.
Just a couple more questions here because I know you're really busy. There's a fan that wants to know, you were mentioning earlier about the hazing. Who was the biggest backstage bully? I know you weren't bullied because I know for a fact you're tough, but who would have been the worst hazer?
Man, you know what? I'm not going to name names on that. Because, it was all in good fun. But I will tell you this. It was the best experience, one of the best experiences in my life. Because it really is a brotherhood once you're in. And a lot of the guys looked out for me. Some of my good friends, my closest friends to this day. I mean, Doug Basham, he's coming out this weekend or that weekend of the 17th. And Dan Pewter, I talk to Nick Mitchell all the time, another great guy. Became such good friends with Al Snow and a number of others. So, the experience and the friends, the relationships I've made through the WWE, heck, probably wouldn't be here without the WWE.
And Red Viper wants to know, was the big show just pretending to dislike the contestants, or was there legitimate heat there?
I would love to tell you this one particular story about me and the big show, but I just don't think it's family friendly. No, Paul, great guy, great guy. I had a lot of fun with him. It was funny because before we went in, to the ring that night, he came up to all of us and introduced everybody to us and introduced himself to everybody. And I remember shaking his hand because I got a big hand, but his hand is like a turkey. It's like a ham. Like I had like a little baby hand in his hand. It's a giant of a guy, and had no idea that what was going to happen after that. But that was legit, though. That was real. That was real. When he hit Nick Mitchell, he gave him a concussion when he slapped him, and when he swung on me, that was legit swing. He would have definitely knocked me out.
Wow. Is it true the Bashams were told if they lost their competition that they did with you guys that they'd be fired? You mentioned you're still friends with them.
I have heard that. Actually, Doug made me look so good when when I came up. It was kind of John Laurinaitis had me come up just for one of the Raw shows. I wasn't moved up just yet, and he told me, he's like, get in the ring and work with a couple of guys because Vince is going to be down there, watching, at the apron. So I got down there, and Doug Basham gets in the ring with me, and he's like, let's do the Universal. I'm going to make you look good. So, like I said, I was a terrible wrestler. I only knew a few moves, but I knew how to do the Universal, which is tackle, drop down, hip toss. And sure enough, he made it look so good that like I was a top wrestler. And Vince McMahon was like, wow, this kid's great. And I think a week later, Doug got released. And to this day, he always busts my chops about it. He's like, I made you look so good that they fired me. So, yeah, to this day, he always busts my chops. If you come on the 17th, we'll tell you the whole story.
Did Al Snow ever give you any advice for wrestling that has helped you in politics, this kind of crossover advice?
Actually, I talked to Al a lot. I was just texting him earlier today, but he doesn't. Not only does he give me advice for wrestling, but he also gave me advice in life. Every industry that I've gotten into when I ran, got into politics, he said just be yourself, be true, and when you get up there, if you start slacking, I'm going to be the first one to call you out. So Al is a great friend, a great teacher, a great coach. I still call him coach to this day. But we used to all bust his chops and play tricks on him all the time, and then he'd come back and get us 10 times worse.
Did Kurt Angle ever give you any issues, or was he pretty good to you?
Oh, that's okay. I didn't get to talk to Kurt that much, but he was a nice guy. Everybody, on the roster was friendly, and so. Oh, my team said I got to push the website, Dan Rodimer.
Yeah, I was going to ask you now what you wanted to push, where fans can follow and watch your upcoming videos and so forth.
Yeah, please go to danrodimer.com. It's right there over here. That's right there, danrodimer.com. Please go to it. Get involved, watch it, push some of the videos. We're gonna have some real good ones coming out. Like I said, with guns, we're gonna have the big WWE event. So if you live in Texas, come on out, hang out with us, meet Kane. I think on the 23rd, we got Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars coming out. I did just call Dana White right before I got on with you, Hannibal. to see if I can get him to come out here too. He was a big supporter in the past. So, but please, yeah, get involved. Come on out. And Hannibal, I'd be honored if you came out, brother.
Very good. Thanks for the invite, and I'll stay in touch with you about that. Thanks for coming on my show, and I wish you good luck in this campaign, and I hope you definitely win.
Thank you, brother. God bless Texas and God bless America.